videos where you have an officer basically around the neck area.
These two retired Vegas cops now podcast hosts.
They don't have ID, they can't get into a hotel room. To get them the help they need, especially if someone even gets arrested. A lot of people don't know how the justice system works.
You guys have going on is necessary, it's needed.
Hey everybody, this is David Kohlmeier, the Problem Solver. Thanks so much for joining us today. It is Thursday, approximately 4:50. We are live here today at Sticky Paws Studio, located by 215 in Rainbow. Thanks for joining us today. Every single week we go live to talk about specific problems and how we can help people and provide different resources in general. The ProblemSolver.Vegas is also a progressive web app. And if you need any help, there's resources, information. Please go to the web app to get some help if you need any help or want us to solve some problems. Today, as usual, I have some great co-hosts. I have Danny Miner to my right.
Thanks, Dave.
And we have Beja Rivera to my left.
Hey, thanks everyone.
And then we have Janti Chun as well.
Hey, hey, hey.
So we got our, I'm about to say threesome here. We have the crew of
Orgy.
It looks like an orgy. I was
It's an
about to
orgy.
say
It's
that.
not
It's
a
an orgy
threesome.
for
We
sure.
have a crew of three. And then today we have a special guest. Today we have Dr. Leslie, who is a health and wellness innovator focusing on self-evolution, which is a lot. And a lot of people at this table, people clapping,
We need it.
need health and wellness and need self-evolution. So I'm glad that Dr. Leslie is here today.
And if you're in denial, then you absolutely need it.
David.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining.
Yes.
So Dr.
David.
Leslie basically was referred from John Orlando, who actually has Action Junkies podcast, which we partner together here at the Sticky Paws at different times for, and we share, I was about to say wisdom, thoughts, and then different people that you know that are great to be on the show. So he spoke highly of you, so we made some things happen, and you were here today to give us some wisdom. So we leave this room here today, and we're going to be enlightened by Dr. Leslie.
Listen, we just don't
No
have
pressure, but
anybody
I got
here.
this.
Okay, we have great people, and you are obviously greatness. So
Yes.
please share.
Yes.
So just to let you know, Dr. Leslie, we also have a few super fans. Superfan Steve is watching. He's in Henderson. He's in his home. He's watching diligently.
He actually hates us.
He definitely.
Listen, he hates Dave. Right?
He's my.
Let's get that correct.
He's my long lost cousin.
Yeah.
That lives in.
I feel like
deep
John
Henderson.
Orlando brought her here for you specifically.
For me?
Yes.
Is it-
Like,
is it
you
help?
need help.
Listen, we all need help. I love self-improvement.
So do I. I
I've been
agree.
to Tony Robbins. I've been to all these seminars. I embrace all type of experts in general that want to share different things. And
I agree.
If you could pick out 2 or 3 things today and probably implement them in your life, I mean, I think it's probably amazing. So tell us
There's
a little
always
bit
room for improvement, for
about
sure.
yourself, and then we can start jumping into Beja's problems.
Sounds great.
We're going to fix all her problems today.
Wow, in an hour. 4 problems.
And make sure you send the
Lives
invoice
changed.
to Danny. Danny pays all bills and reward money.
And gambles. He has a gambling
Listen.
problem, so we need to talk
definitely,
about that.
definitely talk about gambling and drug use.
Fantastic.
We were filming a show last week, right? I went to get lunch for 20 minutes, and it cost me $500 when I went to lunch.
No way.
Dave spent $500 of my money. I was gone 20 minutes.
You paid for it for real?
This is Vegas. In life, things get expensive, but you have to, If you're Italian, it's about loyalty and treating people correctly. So sometimes lunch gets
Are
expensive.
you Italian?
Absolutely.
Are you
Though,
Italian?
Right? And food.
I'm
Right,
not
and
Italian,
food.
but I understand the Italian
I'm
blood.
Italian.
Get the fuck out
So-
of
Okay,
here.
but you missed food. Food is very important for
Food's
No,
Italians.
we had
Super.
food, but it was a more expensive meal because we have to help people. We have to help people in society,
Talk about it,
especially
Leslie.
old,
Talk
Got it.
about
especially
it.
some
All right.
old timers. We're just rambling with our little.
No
side
wonder
notes.
no one wanted my food when I came. Because you already fed them.
Which food?
Whatever,
Oh,
yeah.
we had
The crock of shit.
You know, the problem is when you do networking and you meet different people, like you're constantly eating. Like I was just with John Orlando.
True.
We had pizza, then I moved over to another. It's too much. I've gained 15 pounds just meeting people and networking.
That's
So
why we're so fat.
He's blaming the studio.
I swear I had
Exactly.
to. You have to, in order to like stay afloat here, you have to feed the.
Now
owner.
listen, you have a
to
life
feed the
coach
owner.
here that's going to tell you that's wrong.
And not just that. So,
Yes, here we go. Good.
Right? We can dive right in.
Good.
So
Dive in.
just to move it back a little bit. There is no excuse for that.
Yes.
I'm not letting you off the hook here. Okay, I have 2 kids. My daughter is turning 9. Oh my God, she's like 9 going on 17. My son is 10. And back in 2017, I had my little kids, single mom, and I won gold medals in bikini fitness competitions.
Okay.
Like muscle, for real.
You don't know this.
All right,
but-
I had the baggy lunch. I did the whole like chicken
Okay.
in the
Gold
bag.
medals.
What is it?
Yeah,
Macro.
Yes, and, like meet your macros, right? Your
Yes.
carbohydrates, your fats, your
Yeah,
proteins,
yeah. So
right?
you were
Now,
on it.
That's not necessarily the healthiest way to go about
Can we
doing that
pull
whole
up
thing.
some photos?
I have on my
Let's see.
Facebook. Really?
That's sexy.
Right here. Oh my God.
I don't think you pull up.
Let's talk about this.
Oh, these are photos of you.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't.
Yeah.
She
When I
had
was
2
competing.
children and she competed.
Yeah, it was
Hell
part of
yeah.
the branding because I had a regenerative practice at the time.
Ooh.
Chase, do you have Facebook that you could pull up?
So
her name,
yeah,
or-
right here.
I would need a
don't
link to her sent to me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
God, that's so
Okay,
hard.
and so okay,
I was
okay,
blonde
you're
then,
gonna
obviously.
Travis, pull this up.
I don't know.
Pull this up.
It's not that easy for him to pull things up.
Yeah.
Pull
We,
your,
we
pull
need
your
to give
pants
her
up.
her flowers,
But
her
there's-
Let me see.
kudos, and
There's
everything.
there's
The bottom line
absolutely no
is you
excuse.
had kids and you basically became
Yeah,
this
and
fitness.
I did this as an example. So at
Okay.
the time when I had my regenerative practice, I was doing, the Botox fillers and, thread lifts, and I was doing coaching. I was working with a naturopath because I got out of sort of the traditional Western medicine modality, right? The pharmaceuticals, which is a whole other show. I won't get into all of that stuff, but we can really heal ourselves and regenerate in a more natural way. We need to understand how to go about doing that. So I did bikini competitions to
Okay.
demonstrate without using any pharmaceuticals, just diet and exercise, despite having kids, despite, scheduling issues, that anyone can do it.
How long did it take?
Well, I walked around at, I think, about 13% body fat for a couple of years. And then I met my coach at the time and I cut down over 3 months. And then I went to my first show and
3 months. Okay. Wow.
yeah. So usually it's
Yeah.
a 3-month period of time. Now, again, that's not a healthy way to function and walk around at. What I'm saying is that it's definitely doable. You don't have to let
I'm
networking.
glad that you mentioned that because it isn't. And to lose so many pounds, I think what is the most healthiest amount of pounds that you can lose a week? I think it's between like 1.5 to 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so for you, what did that look like when you were doing your competition?
I actually didn't lose any weight. What happens is you go through a recomposition. So you burn fat and you build muscle. Like I was going through this when I first decided that I wanted to get muscular because I hated being skinny fat. My whole life, you see the Barbies and you want to see the Victoria's Secret models and you're like, oh my God, I want to be like that. My body was not built for that. I did ballet semi-professionally, couldn't do it because I started getting breasts and hips. And so I'm like, I need to do something that works with my body that also makes me feel and look good.
Okay, I don't feel like I asked the question correctly.
Oh, okay.
Why did you say in a healthy manner, or did she say that? She said like in a healthy way, or there was like
Losing weight?
Losing weight in the
Yes.
healthy
I see.
way.
Yeah.
Can you just like reiterate on that?
Yeah.
Just
So
kinda-
people try to lose weight in ways that do not support their physiology.
Okay.
And they do it in a way that doesn't
The teas,
the teas.
The teeth.
yeah, like the super slimming teas, and you
Oh,
shit your
tea.
fucking brains out.
Yes, yeah, the teas
Like
and
this.
starvation
Those are
diet
terrible.
Terrible.
and keto and this intermittent fasting and all this stuff. And it's like if we really get to the root understanding of how our physiology works and why aging happens, and we deal with that, we're not going to have to do all of these coping mechanisms. I'm so, whether it's spirituality, personal development, our physical health, I'm all about getting to the root cause and finding practical, efficient, and effective ways of getting there. None of this bogus coping. I mean, coping is good. We want to be able to cope to kind of, not go through the challenges because it can be very challenging and drawn out if we want to really get to the root cause of something.
Right.
But that's what's going to make the lasting transformation. So coping is good, to get you going, get the habits rolling. But then we need to, do things that are really going to be transformative. So
Right. And that's why you said diet and exercise mainly, right?
diet is like 80% of it.
That's what they
For
say.
sure.
I agree.
So you go to a networking event and you're drinking and you're having fried things or whatever. I mean, there are better choices. You don't have
Yeah,
to.
of course.
There's a lot of people that go to those events and don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Better
like
choices
this
like drugs.
podcast because she's going to make me feel bad.
I feel like
Better choices
And
like
I'm
drugs.
looking right at you. Yes, and I say,
If I shoot myself and I don't make it to next Thursday's podcast, you know why.
But I feel like it's super important to just stay consistent. Like consistency is key, you know? And
Absolutely.
it's like you could be dieting and exercising all throughout the week, and then you have one day where you are at one of Dave's marketing events where you're drinking and eating all
cheat
these fried foods.
Yeah.
And then just feel like you fell off the wagon, and it's really not like that. Like go to the gym the next day. Like
and it's okay to do that. Like we're human. It's not normal or natural for our psyche to be able to just be so rigid all the time. That becomes obsessive. And in that world of competing and where I was,
is that where the aging comes in? Because I swear that's where it
Yes.
comes from.
You lose so much collagen. Like I looked, I looked
I knew it.
horrible. I looked 25 years older than I was. It was disgusting. And even
Your
after,
body looks great, but it's
Yeah.
like in the face, like you age,
Yeah.
and I feel like you're stressed out. You're constantly trying to manage your calories, your intake. Like you're just so stressed out.
it's obsessive. It's for sure a control thing. I was going through a divorce and some really crazy things at that time. So it was a great outlet for me, but it was also, again, for branding. I kind of curved it and utilized it to make it a benefit for what I was trying to do, but
You
it was
definitely
extreme.
don't look 25 years old. Whatever.
Not
You
anymore.
look great.
No, I'm in a much healthier place.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
So you used to do like Botox and things like that are. you used
Yeah.
to work for
Yeah.
a
I'm actually
place.
into it. So I had my own regenerative practice. I kind of stepped back from it.
Regenerative, right?
Regenerative.
Regenerative.
Yes, it was a wellness
regenerate.
and
New Yorkers
regenerative.
can't
So like stem cells,
okay.
exosomes, did all the
Like
stuff in the
when you
face.
take the blood out and you put the blood, what do you call it? The
vampire.
vampire.
Oh,
I did.
The vampire facial.
I
We
did.
said we were going to do that.
You wanted me to do that.
It's so good.
Let me ask you a question. A lot of times, I know Danny goes for Botox a lot. Do you feel that, with your experience, do you feel it's working or?
in my
Just
professional
take a
opinion.
quick
I
look.
mean, he's only 30 years old. What do you think? Do you think it's working?
When was
when
the
it
last time
comes
you
to
had
hair
Botox?
restoration,
At it.
when it
Well,
comes
it's your
to
lucky day because we asked you to bring Botox and today you're getting a Botox session.
Right here.
when it comes to hair restoration, do you have anybody that you can?
Oh, yes.
It's not
Beja.
working.
Touche.
He shaves it. He shaves it on
Beija's
purpose,
finally
right?
getting into things. Yeah, I like this.
I know. I like it too.
Maybe you have to put
There's
a
a little
seatbelt on here.
hostility going on here, I think. Some repressed
There's a lot of
emotion.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
tension going on. In this world.
She knows. How they can solve it, honey.
How do we solve it? 'Cause the goal is to solve the problem. How do
To
we
solve the problem.
Yeah.
How do we solve the tension here?
Oh my. This is
Well,
going to
that's-
Get
This
some
is a deep dive.
exercise in your life.
It's gonna take like 20 sessions
This
at
might
like
take
$500 an
yeah,
hour.
yeah. I need to know much more about the dynamic here.
So okay, so you used to do all that stuff in general. You're getting back into it now. So what's your main? I know. Is it a book that you have to unlock your best authentic life? Is that a book?
So
is that
no,
a,
I have. I developed a program it was actually this past year. It's a journey back to wholeness, balancing the elements of love. Actually, so everything that I've based my sort of coaching, if you will, my coaching and mentorship is on coming back to your authentic self. A lot of people know the concept of self-love, or they intellectually understand it. They do self-loving acts, but they don't know how to. And that's really where there's that disconnect. People are like, what do you mean? How do I be self-love? How do I be love? They don't understand it's an embodiment. It's about becoming the vibration. So if you know about law of attraction or manifestation, or if you're spiritual and you're in that community, you'll kind of idea of what that means. It's a vibrational frequency. And to kind of get into a little bit of it, physics and spirituality, they're being bridged. Like there's an enormous amount that's being, the gap is being closed between our understanding of energy and how we are as energy beings. We can't really deny it anymore. And we can measure wavelengths and vibrational frequencies that we emit, even our water. Like there have been studies of monks chanting over water positive words and chanting negative words over water, and the molecules are completely different.
Yes.
So embodying love or self-love is really about becoming that. How do you become that? Well, it's a journey back to yourself. That's the self-evolution process. That's what I believe is really every one of our here on the planet is not just living out our purpose, whatever that is, but our evolution or our evolution is about coming back to who we are. And when you're in that space, all the other garbage and all the other pain that we experience, the gambling, the
garbage.
whatever, it literally, it slips away.
Right. But it's realizing
You're glossing over. But I lost you like about 30 seconds
No.
ago. Did you see that?
When you said gambling, looked at Danny.
he was
It
trying to
just
find
funny.
something funny to say.
I see.
Well-
That's what that look was.
He's always trying to find funny.
Danny,
to
we're
say.
gonna
Yeah.
win, okay?
So no, well, the problem with what you say is, I think a lot of people are aware of that or want to be that or want to embody all that, but I
Have
think,
an idea of it.
yeah, no, people have an idea and they want
Correct.
it, but that next step of actually attaining it or actually hanging on to that feeling, because things happen in life, a moment,
Exactly.
right? So your moods or your whatever is affected by these exterior forces, right? And so it's easy to say, oh, you know what? I know where I need to be. I know I need to be here spiritually, but it doesn't happen like that all the time. Because
Or
things-
occurrences in life, something
Absolutely.
negative happens, and then all of a
Absolutely.
sudden your whole mood changes,
Yeah.
your frequency changes,
Yeah.
just everything
Right.
changes, and it's hard to be consistent with
Right.
being positive or just seeing the bigger picture or, the light at the end of the tunnel, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Right. Excellent point. So the issue with humans, or part of our condition, is that we're kind of dumb. We're a dumb species. We need to learn.
for sure.
We need to learn through challenges, right? So oftentimes people have to go through the most ridiculous hardship to actually be faced with and being forced to make that shift. It's so easy to just put off, oh, well, I could do this, but it's easier to just go drink or just eat the food or have sex because that's an outlet or whatever. And all those things are fine in moderation. But when you're using this as a coping mechanism or a scapegoat from your evolutionary path, then you get stuck, right? So my journey, unfortunately, was incredibly painful. I went through an enormous hardship that made me have to face my shadows, my darkness, all of my weakness. And I came into my wholeness by facing something so incredibly challenging. And that's how I developed my program. I stepped away from medicine and I developed my remap process, which is that practical, effective, efficient approach to your self-evolution.
Right.
So there are strategies people can use.
Sure.
And yes, we can get pulled out of our emotion, but this is where we need to, how do we do that? So you talked about Tony Robbins earlier. Wonderful. I went to many of his programs. There was always something missing. I could never put my finger on it. So I had my regenerative practice and I'm like, God, I started doing coaching and dabbling in it. And I'm like, there's a missing piece here. What is the piece? I couldn't quite figure it out. And what it was it wasn't about authentic movement forward,
Okay.
right? It was about, and it's not spirituality, because people don't like the word spiritual. Some people are like very tainted by that, or God or whatever, but it's just really coming into like, what is truly me? Getting still, getting present, really getting quiet in our mind and feeling what we are and who we are. When you're still and you're present, that's when shit happens.
So
That's where the magic is.
So here's a question. So I've been through Tony Robbins, a few of the seminars, not the advanced stuff in general.
Yeah.
So I guess when you say that it's not authentic, a lot of the things I feel I got, I'm 46 now, so I was 18 in Madison Square Garden, and I probably saw him in a few different places. But I feel with him, he was all about like taking action, pushing yourself, having goals, and that you could
Making things happen.
make things happen. So what do you feel that was missing? It's kind of interesting. You say
Yeah,
that. Like,
sorry, I'm not bashing him.
No,
I
no,
love
no,
him.
I'm just-
I adore him. He's great.
I'm just curious because it's interesting you say that, because I mean I'm not one to like
It was-
psychologically think about everything he's saying. I mean he's pushing people and he's known for many years.
Maybe she means the spiritual part, even though I know you don't want to use that term.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what was lacking.
Yeah,
Possibly.
it's
Too commercialized.
I did feel that somewhat, but it wasn't even that. It was just, I felt like,
It's
yes,
not real life.
everything was action. Yes, it was taking action. And those things are really important to create the momentum. He was very much about momentum and creating that. And that's awesome, right?
Okay.
So in my remap process, action steps and following through and, progress tracking, that's a really important part of it. But it's about, okay, what do I really want? Who am I? Like, it's easy for someone to say, hey, take action on, do real estate because that's the way you're going to make money. Okay, but maybe I don't really want to do that. Like, I could do that, and that is a good way.
Yes.
But is that my authentic way?
Like, what is going to be in
your
alignment
purpose.
for
Right,
you?
right. It's that alignment, exactly.
And just to rewind a little bit, I've always heard this saying: a wise person learns from another person's mistakes. You said that you went through a hardship. I feel like I was and have been stubborn all my life and just had to learn the hard way. Do you feel that you've been the same?
You know, I was always different. When I was 5, I told people I was going to be a brain surgeon because I was going to fix the unfixable, which is the brain. Like, that's what I thought. I just thought, oh, I'll be a brain surgeon because I just knew.
At 5?
At
Yeah,
5. My mom remembers me telling people this. Like, what do you want to do? I'm going to be a brain surgeon. Because at that time, the brain to me was, you couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
Right. And I just knew that's what I was going to do. So, you know, fast forward, here I am helping people fix their brains through
Rewiring.
their programming, their understanding of self, their spiritual, all of that stuff affects. So we have like these different bodies of consciousness
You
that we work on.
manifested that.
Totally. I knew as a kid. It was just
Yes.
the weirdest thing. I just woke up one day. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm going to do.
Awesome.
So when you say hardships, and you don't have to share whatever you don't want to, of course. I guess I'm just interested in hearing about it.
Yeah.
Like that point in your life.
She goes, you don't have to share it, but,
But
you know,
tell us
but,
what
but
happened.
I'm interested in hearing about it.
If you, I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Open space.
No, it's great. Actually,
Open
it's
space to the 10 watching about your past problems.
Oh, I'll tell you all about mine. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I'm very fine talking about it because it was an incredibly important piece of my growth and coming to where I am.
Right.
When I was going through my divorce, it was a horrible divorce. I had my 2 little kids, all my family. My ex-husband and I are both from Canada, so I was here on my own. My whole life, I was just went to school, had my babies, worked like blind on life, right?
He cheated.
No. Actually, no, that wasn't it. No, actually, when I
With
left,
your best friend.
when
Just
I left with I wish it was that easy. No, I actually got into a relationship amongst all of that difficulty, finishing my doctoral degree, and I'll kind of like zoom through it. I was in this relationship with a guy I was working with in the psych facility I was working in, and he was doing some really shitty things with my prescribing and with
Oh my
the,
God,
with
and
the
then?
pharmacy. So it became abusive when I confronted him about the things that were happening. And then a year and a bit later, I got a knock on my door and I was indicted. Like
Wow.
8 charges for Medicare and Medicaid fraud and conspiracy, like for real. So I had a 2.5-year battle. It was pretty ugly. Beyond. I won't get into the details of all the things that I
You're
Experience.
saying that
Totally.
someone
No, it's fine.
that your ex did this?
not my ex-husband, the guy that I was dating, he's in jail for a very long time. But it was, I went through a lot of domestic issues along that time. And anyways, I was indicted and it was like a 2.5-year drawn out, painful process. In that time, I went through a very intense spiritual awakening. I just had all these crazy things start happening to me. And I like my being, like just wild things. I'm like, I'm a researcher. I'm a nerd. Like this stuff happened. Like I was spiritual, but I'm like, I'm just having all these weird phenomena happening. And I had a bottle of pills in my hands 3 times during that because it was really painful. And
Shit. She just
and
touched
by
on
myself.
so many subjects right now.
Did you have to go away?
That's crazy.
no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, but just what I was subject to and,
Wow.
what I had to go